My husband asked for a divorce, while our daughter smashed vanilla cake into her tiny fists. Everyone laughed when he stood up clinking his champagne glass. His mother thought he was about to give a toast. My sister reached for her phone to record it. Pink balloons floated behind him beside the giant gold number 1 hanging over the fireplace. Ethan smiled like a man accepting an award. Then, he pulled divorce papers from inside his jacket. The room froze so fast, I could hear our daughter breathing through her stuffed nose from her high chair beside me. "I couldn't do this anymore," he said calmly. "The company and the car are mine. You keep the baby." A few people shifted uncomfortably. His brother actually laughed under his breath like this was some brutal joke between men. I remember staring at the frosting on Ethan's cufflink while my chest hollowed out. 3 years earlier, I had helped build his marketing company from our apartment kitchen while pregnant and exhausted. My name wasn't public. Ethan liked things simple. Simple meant invisible. He slid the papers toward me across the table. I signed every page, without arguing. Then I looked up and quietly said, "You have no idea what you just did." Ethan's smile disappeared immediately. The silence after my words lasted maybe 2 seconds. Then Ethan laughed. Not nervous laughter. Confident laughter. The kind people use when they believe they already won. His mother relaxed instantly beside him. Someone restarted the music. Glasses clinked again. Conversations slowly returned around us like nothing irreversible had happened at our daughter's birthday party. I wiped frosting from Olivia's cheek while Ethan leaned closer. "You're making this harder than it needs to be," he murmured. I almost smiled at that. Harder. For 3 years, I handled payroll problems, client retention, late-night investor decks, and crisis calls while Ethan became the polished face of the company. He gave interviews. I fixed disasters before sunrise. Nobody knew because Ethan preferred telling people I helped occasionally. His attorney handed me a copy of the agreement. No alimony. No ownership. No claims. A clean exit. Except Ethan had forgotten something dangerous about me. I never fought emotionally. I prepared quietly. That night, after every guest finally left, I carried Olivia upstairs and sat in the nursery, holding her against my chest until she fell asleep. Then I opened my laptop. 47 unread emails waited inside an account Ethan believed had been deleted forever, including one sent from our company's legal department 3 weeks earlier. Subject line: urgent, signature, authorization, review requested. And underneath it sat the document Ethan never knew existed. I stared at the document until sunrise painted pale orange lines across Olivia's nursery wall. My hands never shook. That surprised me most. The attachment was a revised ownership agreement drafted 18 months earlier after Ethan's first investor panic. One partner had threatened to walk unless operational authority became legally protected. Ethan never read contracts carefully when he felt powerful. He signed wherever attorneys pointed, including the emergency clause transferring majority control to the acting operations director if the company founder became involved in conduct causing material reputational harm. At the time, Ethan made me sign separately as temporary operational support. Temporary. Except the clause never expired. And his birthday party divorce performance counted as public misconduct under morality language added by corporate counsel during acquisition negotiations last winter. I reread the wording 5 times. Then I called Daniel Mercer, the senior partner who originally drafted everything. He answered immediately despite the hour. "You finally opened the file," he said quietly. "You knew." I knew Ethan never understood what he signed. I walked downstairs while Ethan slept on the couch surrounded by half-empty whiskey glasses and torn wrapping paper. For 1 second, I almost pitied him. Then I noticed my daughter's birthday photo sitting face down near the trash. Not fallen. Placed there. Something cold settled permanently inside me. Daniel spoke again through the phone. "You should know," he said carefully. "The investors already contacted me last night after the party video spread online. The video had already reached 80,000 views by morning. One of Ethan's cousins uploaded it before midnight with the caption, 'Savage birthday divorce announcement.' People online thought it was fake. They laughed at the cake, the balloons, the way Ethan casually told me to keep the baby, while guests awkwardly sipped champagne behind us. Nobody realized 3 investors were sitting 10 feet away when it happened. By noon, Daniel arranged an emergency meeting downtown. Ethan walked into the conference room smiling like he still owned the world. Navy suit, expensive watch, coffee in hand. He kissed 2 investors on the shoulder before sitting beside me without looking directly at me once. Then Daniel slid the revised agreement across the table. I watched Ethan's confidence crack line by line. "What is this?" he asked sharply. "The operational morality clause," Daniel replied. Ethan looked at me for the first time all day. "You knew about this?" "I remembered signing it," I answered calmly. One investor leaned forward. "Your public behavior created liability concerns. The board voted unanimously this morning." Ethan blinked hard. "Voted on what?" Daniel folded his hands. "Effective immediately, majority operational control transfers to Mrs. Carter pending formal review." The room went silent. Ethan actually laughed once like his brain rejected reality. Then Daniel placed another folder in front of him. Inside sat evidence of something even worse. Ethan opened the folder slowly. I recognized the expression immediately. Pure fear hidden beneath anger. Inside were financial transfers connected to a private consulting account he never disclosed during acquisition negotiations. Hundreds of thousands moved quietly over 14 months into shell vendors that technically did not exist. I discovered them accidentally while fixing payroll discrepancies during Olivia's colic phase. At first, I thought Ethan was hiding money from taxes. The truth was uglier. He'd been siphoning investor funds to cover losses from personal trades he secretly made after midnight while pretending the company was thriving. One investor looked physically sick reviewing the statements. "You told us growth projections were stable," she whispered. Ethan turned toward me fast enough to knock over his coffee. "You went through my accounts?" "No," I said softly. "I went through company accounts. The ones I managed while raising your daughter." His jaw tightened hard. Daniel calmly pushed another document forward. "There's also the matter of intellectual ownership." Ethan frowned. And that was the moment I knew he truly never respected my work. Because he genuinely forgot the company's most profitable campaign strategy, the one that tripled revenue during year 2, was legally filed under my name before marriage. Not his. Mine. The investor beside Ethan slowly removed his wedding ring and placed it on the table absent-mindedly, like reality itself suddenly felt unreliable. Then Ethan whispered something I'll never forget. "You planned this." I almost answered him honestly, because part of me had planned for disaster from the very beginning. Not revenge. Survival. Women learn early that love does not always protect you when money enters the room. So while Ethan built confidence, I built records, backups, copies, quiet exits. I remembered nursing Olivia at 3 in the morning while correcting investor projections Ethan forgot to finish before a board presentation. I remembered crying silently in bathrooms after he called me emotional during meetings built entirely from my ideas. And still, I stayed. Until he chose humiliation over respect. "I didn't plan this," I told him finally. "You created this." The board suspended Ethan before sunset. His company card stopped working immediately. Security escorted him upstairs to clear his office, while investors remained downstairs discussing emergency restructuring with me. The same people who once ignored my suggestions now waited for my approval before speaking. Ethan passed the conference room one final time carrying a cardboard box against his chest. He looked smaller somehow. Not defeated. Exposed. When our eyes met through the glass wall, I expected rage. Instead, I saw panic. Real panic. Then my phone vibrated inside my purse. A message from Ethan's younger sister appeared across the screen. "I know what he hid from you. He's been seeing someone for almost a year." Underneath the text sat 3 photographs. One included our daughter. I locked myself inside Daniel's office before opening the photographs fully. The first showed Ethan holding hands with a woman outside a hotel downtown. The second captured them entering a beach house 3 months earlier while I stayed home with Olivia during her ear infection. The third nearly stopped my breathing. Olivia sat strapped into her stroller beside the woman while Ethan carried shopping bags behind them, smiling comfortably, like they already practiced being a family together. The timestamp was 2 weeks before our daughter's birthday. I stared so long my vision blurred. Not because he cheated. Because he brought our child into the lie. Daniel quietly closed the office door behind me after one glance at my face. "Do you want to stop?" he asked carefully. That question broke something open inside me. Stop protecting him. Stop minimizing him. Stop pretending humiliation hurts less when spoken softly. I wiped my eyes once and stood up. "No," I answered. "I'm finished being merciful." By evening, Ethan's investors received complete forensic reports regarding the hidden accounts. Legal notices followed immediately afterward. His acquisition payout froze pending investigation. Then came the final blow. Family court reviewed the birthday video alongside financial evidence and instability concerns. The same man who publicly told me to keep the baby now sat before a judge begging for shared custody. The judge denied his request temporarily. And Ethan finally realized losing the company was not the worst thing happening to him. The last time I saw Ethan, he stood outside the courthouse wearing the same navy coat from Olivia's birthday party. Except now it hung loosely from his shoulders. Reporters waited near the sidewalk because news about the investigation finally leaked publicly that morning. Former employees whispered nearby, pretending not to stare. Ethan kept his head down until he noticed me walking toward my car carrying Olivia against my hip. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he asked the question people always ask after destroying their own lives. How did everything fall apart this fast? I looked at him carefully. This was the man I once defended to my family. The man I stayed awake supporting while building a business from nothing. The man who thought motherhood made me weak enough to discard publicly. But Ethan misunderstood something important. Women learn how to survive long before they learn how to trust. "You didn't lose everything in 1 month," I said quietly. "You lost it slowly, every time you confused love with ownership." His eyes filled immediately. Not from guilt, from recognition. Because deep down, he finally understood the truth. I was never the silent woman standing beside his success. I was the reason it existed at all. Then Olivia wrapped her tiny hand around my finger, and I walked away without looking back.